When someone finds out I'm a clinical psychologist, the number one question I get is, are you analyzing me? It's also the number one question you want me to answer. Here's the honest answer. Yes, I am, and no, I'm not. Let's start with the yes. As a clinical psychologist, I focus on understanding thoughts, feelings, and actions that are out of the ordinary. If I see someone in public moving in unexpected ways, speaking loudly, and saying things that don't make sense, my training kicks in. I automatically question if they're under the influence of a drug or are experiencing a manic episode of bipolar depression, have a tic, or something else. I can't help that. When I see something out of the norm, it automatically triggers a network of memories related to everything I've learned about clinical psychology. This is how memory works, and we all have some kind of unconscious bias. But let's replay what I just said. I automatically question if they're under the influence of a drug or are experiencing a manic episode of bipolar depression, have a tic, or something else. Notice how I couldn't give you an exact explanation of what's happening? I can't understand what you're thinking and feeling just by looking at you. I need to know what's going on in your head and what you're experiencing in your body. The only way to find that out is by asking you. This gets us to the no part of my answer. As a clinical psychologist, people come to me because of problems. Not feeling like yourself, a lot of fights with a partner, school or work isn't going well, or you can't do something you need to do. Stuff like that. I ask questions and eventually figure out a diagnosis. Maybe it's anxiety, depression, an eating disorder, or something else. But a diagnosis is just the beginning of my work. A diagnosis tells me a lot about the problems you're experiencing and what type of treatments might work, but it doesn't tell me anything about why you're experiencing these problems or how I can customize a treatment to fit your needs. That's why I dig deeper, and that's where the real analyzing comes in. I talk to my patients about their past to identify origins to their problems. Things like a genetic risk, important events in their past, what their family was like, where they grew up, and important parts of their culture. I'll also ask about precipitants, recent changes that might have triggered these problems or made these problems worse. But the real magic of a clinical psychologist is how we identify mechanisms. Mechanisms are the things that cause your problems. Think of them like an engine. When this engine turns on, it causes all these problems to occur. This engine was built up over time by these origins and was turned on by the key found in your precipitants. Remember when I talked about my own social anxiety disorder? Here's how it looks graphed in this conceptualization. What's super important to understand is the same problem can be caused by different mechanisms. Lots of parents come to me because their kid is misbehaving in class. But misbehaving could be caused by a number of mechanisms, like difficulty organizing information that is being taught during class, not getting enough sleep, getting attention from other students, feeling unsafe around others, trying to suppress thoughts that might be popping up in your head, or maybe something else. I know I keep saying maybe something else, but that's human behavior. It's complicated, and it's hard to find one simple explanation for why anyone does what they do. I'll make a decision about misbehaving mechanisms based on what the kid has told me, their parents' perspective, what the school says, the current scientific research on the topic, and my experience treating these problems. Then in treatment, everything I do will target this mechanism, the root cause of the problems. This whole process, it's all collaborative. My patient and I do it together. I don't keep secrets from my patients when it comes to what I think is causing their problems. I'll tell them what I think is going on and check in with them to see if it makes sense given what they're experiencing. I might be the expert on clinical psychology, but they're the expert on them. This is why I hate the question, are you analyzing me? I can't analyze you without you because I can't read your mind, and I would never even try to do that without your permission or your cooperation. This is why psychologists are prohibited from analyzing public figures. Seeing someone on TV doesn't give you any information about what they're thinking or feeling, and without without their permission, it's unethical to even try. Some clinical psychologists hate this question so much that they'll pretend to be someone else in social situations. Seriously, here's an article about a colleague of mine who tells people he's an accountant when he's sitting on the airplane because he just doesn't want to deal with this whole issue. The next time you meet a clinical psychologist, please don't ask them if they're analyzing you. They're not. Instead, ask a more open-ended question like, what's it like to be a psychologist? I promise it'll lead to a much more interesting conversation. What questions do you have about clinical psychology? Let me know in the comments below.